شكرنا الجزيل ممتد لأصحاب المعالي والسعادة على مشاركتهم في هذه الجلسة التي حملت عنوان تنمية المجتمع وتعزيز جودة الحياة. أعزائنا الحضور، هناك قصص نجاح كثيرة لممارسات عالمية في إدارة المشاريع من دبي. أبرزها قصة نجاح دي بي وورلد، والتي استطاعت ترسيخ دور الإمارة في قلب حركة التجارة العالمية. لهذا جلستنا القادمة ستكون حوارا مباشرا مع سعادة سلطان أحمد بن سليم، رئيس مجلس الإدارة والرئيس التنفيذي لمجموعة دي بي وورلد، تديره الإعلامية لورا باكويل. فليتفضلوا مشكورين ولنرحب بهما جميعا.
Your Excellency, what a great privilege it is to be here, sitting with you here on the main stage at the 8th cycle of the DIPMF now. Very exciting indeed, where our next discussion here is transforming trade and how business can support a just transition. Now, especially so as the global economy, of course, is experiencing deep transformation. Well, first and foremost, I thought we'd start off with your recent trip to the World Economic Forum over in Davos, where trade, of course, was very much a key theme. And I know that you had a pavilion there as well. Maybe you could tell us some of the highlights from that recent trip.
Thank you very much. First of all, I'd like to thank His Excellency Matar Tayer, RTA, for inviting me to speak. Trade is going through so many transformations, challenges. The theme is, how do you make trade resilient? We've seen disruptions from the pandemic. We've seen capacity challenges as far as availability of empty containers. We've seen small disruption when the ship stranded in the Suez Canal, how much it affected delay in business. So naturally, the effect on trade is big. And today, one of the challenges is also protectionism. One of the challenges is the Cold War that's just emerging between the West and China. All these, we need to cooperate to maneuver through this. We were able to overcome the challenges of the supply chain capacity, as well as the issue with COVID, by using technology, by the ability to help the trader and the manufacturer to receive their cargo fast. Today, the problem with the trade is not the price or the cost of a product or the shipping. Is really the issue is, when can we receive it? There's a huge demand. There is a lot of delayed product in China that has just been opened now. That means they're going to take a long time to reach. Companies are dealing with ways how to deal with that. Companies have started the subject of nearshoring. Nearshoring came in 2016-17, when people said, maybe we should produce in the consumer market rather than in the Far East. This is evident now. Apple is producing, for example, their iPhone is in India. Other companies are moving to many places to make sure that the supply chain continues. We did the same by establishing hubs, like our hub in Africa, in Rwanda, where we are basically helping the trader to reach their market by helping the product to reach on time. We launched also our own B2B marketplace, Dubai.com, D-U-B-U-Y, Imperial.com, which is basically a platform that helps people to receive cargo faster. You get a trader, for example, in Tanzania who is in need of a certain commodity, and if he uses that platform, he'll be able to reach so many suppliers. And again, Africa is a continent which has huge opportunities, but unfortunately, the trade participation of Africa is only 3% in the world, where the potential is bigger. And that's why you see we are investing a lot in Africa. The inter-Africa trade is only 13%. That means in Africa, you can import something you need from Europe faster than you get from your neighbor. And an example of how we fixed part of that is when we established our logistic park in Rwanda, a dry port. It used to take 2 weeks to send a shipment from Dar es Salaam or Mombasa to Kigali in Rwanda. And now it takes 1 day. It used to take between $5,000 to $7,000. Now it costs $2,800. So that is a help and a solution in that area, because once you reach there, you can reach places where there is so difficult to even bring cargo to them.
It really is incredible what can be done and what can be achieved.
Absolutely. And then we also have accelerated investment in platforms that will help us, like Freight Alliance. And Freight Alliance is really a tool we use. It's an app where if someone wants to ship something, when he goes there, all the freight forwarder in the world are in that app. And so they will fight to give him the best and the fastest deal. So these are technology that we use today to help us and help the supply chain to become resilient.
And that's something very much we're going to be talking about, the technology side of things, and also in Africa as well, very much a key focus point for DP World. But in the meantime, now you very much spoke about PPPs, public-private partnerships over in Davos, to improve the flow of trade. So just in reference to that, how exactly do you go about identifying and managing those partnerships worldwide then?
Well, all our businesses around the world are all in PPP. So again, I go to Africa. An example is in Senegal, where we have a PPP with the government, developing a port, investing in a huge port in a place called Indian, which really, when we came, we almost increased. I mean, we've been in Senegal for now 15 years. We increased the GDP by almost 10%. Now, it's very interesting because in our business, wherever we go to invest, we like to see the GDP grow, because there is a relation between the growth of the GDP and the cargo we can handle. 1% growth in GDP will result in 3% growth of cargo. So by investing in the port, by investing in the logistic park, and by increasing the purchasing power of people with the GDP, it helps us. And so that's where you see the social benefit. We have also many programs to even educate people. In Senegal, for example, in the rural areas, we have sponsored a program where we bring the females from far areas for 3 months, training them how to install solar panels, how to actually fix them, desalination, and they go back with a profession. They go back with something they know. And this is part of our social help in these areas also.
It's absolutely incredible, because actually my next question was, following your acquisition of Imperial Logistics, what exactly is your vision for the continent?
Well, Imperial is an amazing logistic company with huge outreach in certain areas where we cannot reach. For example, in Nigeria, today, Imperial has 170,000 distribution points. in a country like Nigeria, which is almost 200 million. We have good penetration in the market, and what we do, we can make sure that the cargo reach faster and much cheaper, leveraging again, Imperial is leveraging in our ability, because we have the warehouses, they didn't. So we are big in Maputo, for example, in Maputo, in Mozambique, we built a rail that connects Maputo to South Africa. So now, part of South Africa close to Mozambique is able to receive cargo faster and much cheaper. We developed a program of trade corridors. And we took an example of Jebel Ali, India, in this example, Mumbai, and Maputo. And we put a group from each of those ports. And you can't imagine how much business they identified. In Mozambique, where they need things from India, and in India, where they need something in Mozambique, and how Dubai can make that happen faster and efficiently. It's a matter of information. And today, information is key to our business and technology. And that's what we're leveraging, so that we connect people with the right information, and business will flow.
So what about navigating some of the complex challenges, especially with geopolitical tension right now? What's happening in Africa, and how do you navigate those challenges?
It is disrupting, really, the issues with the geopolitical and protectionism policies that are creeping. I mean, we thought it is in the past, but now it's coming up. I believe that the WTO role is to monitor and deal with these issues, because this is disrupting trade. We already have enough issues with trade, with interest rates rising, with the fuel, and many commodities are expensive. We don't need another element to disrupt the trade. And the whole reason why the World Trade Organization was established is to ensure that there is a fair platform for everybody to operate. And I believe that WTO should act more in ensuring that there is no disruption. It is disrupting for someone to import or move cargo from one place in the world, and before that reaches, suddenly there is another issue with either custom duty or some kind of quota on certain product to reach. The market needs cooperation. I tell you, we have seen many crises. The worst that the world have seen is 2008 financial crisis. We managed to overcome it by everybody cooperating, from China to America to Europe, and we managed to navigate it. We need more cooperation now in what we see today, because 2020 was supposed to be a bad year, and of course we thought it was financial. It became COVID, and then we thought that was over, and then everybody said, well, 22 is going to be bad, and suddenly we have Ukraine. So these crises creeping, we as business people can deal with them. We dealt with the financial crisis. We're dealing with issues in Ukraine and others, but we need cooperation now. Government have to step up their cooperation, because the inflation that is caused by the rise of commodities is also affecting business.
Well, I'd quite like to reference your Trade in Transition report, which was released recently as well. And I was reading 96% of executives surveyed are actually making changes to supply chains amid the current sort of situation and climate. So how exactly are companies adjusting? And is it just a matter of it being business as usual? Because there's always disruptions in the market, but how serious is this one?
This refers really to many executives of these companies are solving their problem, because, to be honest with you, the world cannot afford to produce in the Far East only. And that was evident when the pandemic came. And so today, with the nanotechnology, with the 3D printing, there is no reason why these products can be produced in the consumer market, as long as they're producing it there to save money. But if it is kind of protectionist, then that is against us. But I believe that many executives today are able to fix the supply chain problem faster. Today, we see an explosion of innovations. It's amazing. And these innovations are happening at the same time. If you remember, the biggest innovation was electricity, the automobile, the telephone in the early 1900s, but that didn't happen at the same time, happened after another. Today, you have the metaverse, you have robotics, you have AI, okay? You have energy storage. All these are happening like an S-curve after an S-curve. And we're leveraging on that. That is where I believe the world is going to see faster recovery, because these technologies are helping you to do things faster, helping you to anticipate the business, helping you to find solutions. These innovations are helping us a lot, and they're happening together. And I tell you, we see it in Dubai. Nobody could embrace technology like what Dubai invested in preparing itself since the early 2000s with technology, from electronic government to smart government, where we have today a Ministry for AI, where we're using it. The technology is helping us. And so I believe that many executives today utilize the technology to have more transparency on the business.
Well, as you said, innovation is often regarded as the solution for both current and anticipated challenges, of course, especially across industry as well. That was a fabulous quote earlier from Dr. Pete Diamandis: the world's biggest problems are the world's biggest business opportunities, especially when it comes to innovation. So moving back to DP World, what is your approach to innovation?
Well, we use technology, innovation. For example, we have invested in soft and hard innovation. In hard innovation, very interesting, we innovated a system called BoxPay, and anyone can check that on YouTube. We're disrupting the way ports operate. So with BoxPay, you don't need a yard in the port. So today imagine a port, you have cranes and you have a yard with forklifts or equipment to handle cargo. This one is a byproduct of Hyperloop technology, which we use, where it will allow us to handle cargo faster. So imagine if you want to use a lot of space, you use 30% of the space in the port, and you will have a building 11-story high in the front of the containers, cranes, that the containers goes in it, and basically it shifts it and it handles it 300% faster than what we do today, and allows us to do whatever we need faster. So it allowed me, so in other words, in many ports of the world today, when we reach a capacity of 70%, we need to expand. Today, I don't need to expand. I can put this building and it will solve my problem. It's an amazing disruption in technology, which is in the hardware. In the software, we have many platforms that help us to help the trader, like cargoes.com, Freight Alliance, and in cargo.com even we are going deeper in the supply chain, where we also provide trade finance. So if we take a trader trading from one point to another and we see his limitation is trade finance, we have a division for trade finance in DP World, with us a few banks who are already part of it. And what is the beauty of it is safer when you have a system of trace and track. So we know the cargo, where it was and where is it going and what happened to it. And that allows the bank to be more comfortable to provide this.
The advanced technology is absolutely incredible today. And I heard you mention the metaverse. Is DP World in the metaverse?
Absolutely. From these technologies, metaverse is very important for us. And last year, we announced it in Davos, and we're using it today. And I can tell you, the development, the first version I saw was very, very bad. It's basically, you're supposed to see something that suddenly you are in the metaverse and you are moving. And it was very slow. And I was concerned. That was 2 months ago. And in December, it is flawless. Once we wear the goggles, we can be anywhere in the world. Or in a meeting. Imagine today you have online meetings, but you have maybe 20 people from 3-4 places. In the metaverse meeting, you will be sitting next to them. There'll be an avatar that resembles you, and you will be looking at your next person next to you and talking to them. It is more effective in our maintenance if we have a problem in a crane somewhere. Now with the metaverse, the maintenance person, who's the best, can guide through the metaverse. Once you wear this, you can see it. Today, we have a system where we monitor even an operation, support in Philippines, and we see them live, and we go with them in the metaverse, and we will tell them, I think you can do it better or faster this way, and we add value. So there is limitless opportunities in the metaverse. We are just scratching the top of it. But for our business, it is using us for meetings, using it for training, which is more meaningful because everybody in training are working together.
Wow.
I mean, I can go to see a project in Senegal instead of traveling. Once I wear this, I can, with whatever I handle in my hand, I can go and look at every part of it. It looks live. It looks real, and we can add value. And this technology helps us to reduce time and to be more precise in our decision making.
Unbelievable. It really is another level of communication,
Absolutely.
isn't it?
Absolutely.
Well, speaking of communication, I'd like to very quickly go back to the sort of geopolitical atmosphere at the moment, what's happening, obviously, and what should the private sector do when it comes to communicating their concerns and their business needs for advanced trade negotiations? What sort of communication is needed? And I know that government makes the decisions, but what can they do with their voice?
Well, the business people, again, work together. We need to work together. We need to raise our issues with the government to find solutions. And we find this very helpful. If I talk about an issue, it is not as strong as when the same people in the same field go and raise a concern about it. And then the government will listen. Governments don't know the problem until somebody raises it to them. We are capable of solving our problem. Our biggest issue as businessmen is really government policies that today surprise people. So what we need from government is always give us time to adjust. We are capable to adjust to any rules or regulations as long as we have the time to adjust to it and prepare for it. And we work together in the people in the logistics to make sure the governments are aware. And we have achieved results in many parts of the world, actually.
That's really good to hear. So also, due to the global economy, which is seeing a deep shift at the moment, do you think that companies are now falling by the wayside when it comes to environmental wellness and their sustainability goals? Do you think the priorities have shifted?
Not at all, actually. The commitment the business people have for carbon emission reduction is happening. And I can tell you, from our experience, actually converting our machines from engines to electric have saved us money. We've seen it. And today, in every project we have, there is always an element of how to save on energy, how to reduce carbon emission, because it is cheaper. The problem is, a lot of people think by trying to reduce carbon emission is going to cost you something. It doesn't. We reduce tremendous tons and hundreds of thousands of tons of carbon emission by just eliminating the combustion engines. It is cheaper to use, less maintenance, and we find it basically more efficient in every part. So as far as carbon emission commitment for the business, it's happening and people see the benefits of it, definitely.
Also, how do we ensure resilience, sustainability, and prosperity for communities? Is there a one size that fits all?
Well, as a company, we always work with communities. We ensure that we have a good, positive impact wherever we go. So when we invest in a country, we don't just look at the port, we look at the community. And we see that evident in India, in Senegal, in many parts of the world. We need to be part of the community. And as a company, we have agreements and concessions lasting up to 50 years. That means we need to be really a good citizen in these countries where we add value and we participate in many social beneficial projects from orphanage to schools to many projects in these countries because we're going to stay for a long time.
What sort of advice do you have? I mean, we've got a whole host of people here. What sort of advice do you have for companies to further navigate and protect themselves against, global and national supply chain pressures, especially under today's climate? What are your key words of advice?
Technology. I tell you, technology, knowledge, information is very important in the world today. And today we have tools in technology that help us to navigate. We can't be in only one place because basically you will be limited. That's why we are adding. So as a businessman, you need to see always your alternatives. You need to see what else you can do in addition to what you do today. Diversification is very important because the market is changing today. And many businesses could end up obsolete because of technology advancement. So if we don't embrace technology and innovation and always think, what else I can do better? And what else I can do faster? You will be left behind. This is and to be honest with you, for us, even as a business, the biggest worry is always what the technology is hiding from us. What can come and disrupt us. And that's why we have to always challenge ourselves in how to do better and how to have many alternatives for our business. We can't rely. DP World, we were only a company operating in the port. And we have really no business outside the port. That was 2016. And that means if I'm in a port, I give you an example. One of the customers of DP World met me in Senegal, and he said, I'm a trader from Mali, and I don't want to use your port in Dakar anymore because you delayed my cargo. So I was surprised because we have good equipment. I asked our manager, and he told me, his problem is not with us. We delivered the cargo until it got out of the gate. His problem is from the port to Mali, the supply chain is inefficient and he's delayed. So now I'm going to be punished. I could lose business because somebody else is not doing their job, which is not my business. That is why we changed our philosophy and strategy and business from a port-centric to end-to-end. That means I'm going to be in charge of the cargo from the factory floor till the customer door. We invested billions from 2016 till today to acquire logistics operation, to acquire coastal shipping, railway, so that we are able to make sure the cargo goes on time. Otherwise, I could sit in that port and I will see really our business diminish. In fact, at that time, 80% of our revenue was from the port. Today, the value have tripled, but it's only 30%. That means I have 70% of business outside the port that allow me to have value and a role in making sure the cargo reaches the customer. And so this has helped us a lot. So anytime you have a business, you have to see alternative, you have to see challenges, and you have to find a solution. And we transform ourselves from a port company today to a trade enabler. We are in logistics where we add value and we make sure cargo reaches their customer. We can't just say it is somebody else's problem. We have to be involved ourselves and leveraging our knowledge and resources that we have today that the customer can reach their cargo faster.
We have just a minute left, and in that minute, what is your key message to our audience today from our discussion, covering everything that we've spoken about in this last half an hour, just to summarize it, or your key message to our audience today?
Don't give up. You know, whatever business you have, if you really think clearly and deeply, you can solve any problem. The problem is that sometimes people look at the why it cannot happen. And there are many reasons why it cannot happen. But if you use an energy to say how it can happen, believe me, it's more beneficial for the company. And we've seen it in many places where we almost come to a closed door. Oh, it cannot be done. Because everybody thinking in this way. But what if it can happen? And when you start to mobilize your brain and your team and how it can happen, you will find amazing solution that never came in your mind. Because every time there is a problem, a lot of people are busy why the problem happened and who caused the problem and how it happened, which is, in my opinion, irrelevant. The relevance is how do I fix it now? Who caused it? Why it happened? It doesn't help me now if I find out. This is the past. Finding a solution to get out of the problem is key. And by mobilizing our brains in finding a solution, it always helps.
Very wise words. I cannot thank you enough for your time and lending us your voice on such an important subject. Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for being with us here today. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.